a very high-level look at the Lessonator user interface. Lessonator is a tool for creating beautiful music slideshows on your Mac, for teaching and learning. So let's get started. The user interface. The user interface is made of 5 main areas: the switch bar, the slide panel, the work area, the slide and inspector area, and the transport bar. We will now explore each interface area one at a time, starting with the switch bar. The switch bar. The switch bar is the centerpiece of the Lessonator user interface. It lets you switch between views, toggle layers on and off, and access action buttons for creating slides, cells, notes, and other objects. At the top of the switch bar, you'll find a preview of the current slide, which doubles as a button for playing back the slideshow. The rest of the switch bar contains 3 groups of buttons: for switching, layer visibility, and object creation. The first switching button is the slide panel. This is a pop-up view for changing the current slide's parameters, such as template, 3D instrument model, and also adding media to a slide, like movies, audio, and images. The second switching button is timeline. This is a view in the work area that you can use to define the duration of a slide. The third switching button is 3D frame. The 3D frame is a view in the work area where you can define the visual content of a slide. The content of a slide is made up of 3 layers: the back, the 3D instrument, and the front. The fourth switching button is Slides and Inspector. This is a view on the right side of the user interface where you can see a list of slides and inspect selected objects. Now, moving down to the next group, the visibility buttons. From left to right, they enable and disable the 3 layers on a slide: back, 3D instrument, and front. Action buttons are the last group in the switch bar. They are context-sensitive buttons for creation and editing. Depending on what's currently selected, a different set of actions are made available. The slide panel. The slide panel is used to define the template, 3D instrument, notation, and media that goes into a slide. For example, you can define a template for a cover slide that uses a Fender Telecaster guitar as instrument and an image of your choice to be used as background. Let's go through the different areas of the slide panel, starting from the top. 1. Project name. This is the name of your slideshow presentation project. Lessonator projects have a .lesson extension. Please note that the project name is only required if the project has not been named yet. 2. Reference movie or audio. This is the movie or audio file that is to be used for driving the slide's animation. Using a movie file produces a movie-driven slide, while using an audio file produces an audio-driven slide. 3. Notation. This area is for loading a notation file into the slide. Lessonator supports the Music XML and Guitar Pro file formats. You can leave this field undefined if you intend to sequence your own music notation using the Staff or Tab editor. 4. Images. Up to 4 images per slide can be applied to the back, 3D instrument, and front layer. Formats supported include JPEG, PNG, TIFF, and BMP. 5. Template browser. Each entry in this browser specifies 2 things. First, it defines the visual layout for the slide. Please note that the layout is only a starting point and can be changed at any time. There are 3 types of layouts: cover slide, movie-driven slide, and audio-driven slide. The second thing specified by the template browser is the type of instrument used in a slide. Lessonator supports guitar, bass, and keyboard. 6. Instrument model browser. Each entry in this browser specifies the model of the 3D instrument in a chosen template. For example, if you've chosen a template using guitar as an instrument, the instrument model could either be a Fender Stratocaster, a Fender Telecaster, a Gibson Les Paul, or an Ibanez RG. Now, let's move to the next area in the user interface, the work area. The work area. The work area is where you see and edit the content of your slide. It can either be a timeline or a 3D frame view. The 3D frame shows the visual layout of a slide, while the timeline defines its duration in bars as well as providing basic track editing tools. In a 3D frame view, you can select element in the back, 3D instrument, or front layer. You can also navigate around the 3D instrument using pan, zoom, and rotate buttons. In the timeline view, you create and remove bar and sections in order to make the slide longer and shorter in time. The next area of the user interface is the slide and inspector area. The slide view lets you navigate from one slide to the next, as well as delete and rearrange slides. The inspector view allows you to edit the parameters of a selected object. The transport bar. The transport bar allows you to go forward and backward in time and position the timeline as needed. And this concludes our overview of the Lessonator user interface. Please visit Lessonator.com to download the software and start creating beautiful music presentations on your Mac.